Hello and welcome to this week's Club Zone update. This week I'm joined by Ben Bennett, RYA account manager with Gallagher, our insurance partners, and he's going to be providing an update on the use of club-owned boats and the insuring of these. But first up, I just want to flag up some important opportunities for you and your club. We've got a few more club development webinars for you over the next few weeks. So on the 24th of June, we've got a session on equality, diversity and inclusivity for club committee members and board members. And then on the 28th of June, one on the staycation trend. We know this is a big thing right now with the fantastic weather we're having, and a lot of clubs are running junior and family weeks. So this is about the extra special ingredients that really make these opportunities work. And then on the 29th of June, we've got a corporation tax expert with us who's going to be talking about club liabilities, particularly around those additional grants that many clubs will have received over the lockdown periods. Right, Ben, let's get on to this then. So I think it's fair to say that Gallagher and the RYA have had a fantastic relationship over the last 40 years or maybe more, providing specialist insurance to our affiliates. And over 98% of affiliated clubs are insured through Gallagher. So there's a really good chance this is going to be relevant to you. Now, one of the topics that comes up when we're speaking to clubs is about the use of club boats and the insurance of these. And we know that these are really valuable resources, especially with the ongoing growth in non-boat owning members coming into clubs. So it's clearly important to make sure we understand this and make sure we've got sufficient cover in place. So Ben, welcome along.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you.
So Ben, can you try and summarise the cover provided to clubs when insuring club-owned boats under the Gallagher policy, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Gareth. Well, I mean, it's fairly straightforward under the Gallagher policy provided to RYA organisations. Effectively, when you insure boats with us, you automatically are provided with cover for material loss and damage, as well as marine liability. And that covers you for use anywhere in the UK. It doesn't need to just be at your own premises. It can be anywhere within inland and coastal waters of the UK, providing obviously the boat is insured under the club policy, and also includes cover for transit risks. So any boat up to 30 feet in length is automatically covered whilst in transit as well. On top of that, we automatically provide cover for dinghies that are used for racing up to 16 feet in length automatically. And for those boats that are slightly larger, we can also arrange cover, providing that we have an agreement with insurers in advance of the event. Cover under our policy automatically extends to allow members, and members, when I say members, I mean, you know, whether the individual or group is full or temporary, whether they're an individual member, family member, group or affiliate. We class each of those as being a member of the club, and they are entitled to use the club boats. You know, hiring of those boats by the club to those individuals is permitted, as long as it's obviously with the consent of the club and it's as part of recognised and authorised club activity. By the way, that does extend to include recreational sailing whilst at the club. The final thing that I think that is worth pointing out that is automatically covered by the Gallagher policy is that cover is extended for those that need it, probably in future rather than right now, but for those that do want to take boats further afield, so want to take them over into Europe for events perhaps representing the club, cover is automatically provided for up to 30 days a year for use whilst in European waters, obviously also including the transit element, as I already mentioned.
Fantastic. Sounds good. I mean, just listening to that and thinking it through, a lot of clubs at the moment have got really high demand for start sailing courses. Lots of people want to try something new at the moment. So would this cover include students on courses or attending an open day or discover sailing session?
Yeah, commonly asked question amongst our clubs, Gareth, and a very relevant one. The answer is that we would just simply ask clubs to ensure that the individual is granted a form of temporary membership for the duration of that event, whether it be an open event or a training session. You know, simply if you don't already do so, which many clubs do, as part of the sort of booking or the signing up for that event, just grant a form of temporary membership for the duration, and that then means that you meet the terms of the policy.
So from an insurance perspective only, what factors should clubs consider if they're approached by third-party organisation to loan, borrow or hire club boats?
Yeah, again, a regular sort of question that we commonly receive, and it's really important for clubs to be fully aware of the limitations of their insurance on this particular point. The Gallagher policy, the RYA policy that we offer, does specifically exclude use by third-party organisations, anybody that's sort of outside of the club, if you like, unless, of course, a prior agreement has been reached with insurers to extend the cover. That in itself is fairly unlikely. The market norm generally is that those boats would be insured by the organisation that's loaning, hiring or borrowing the boat from your club. And it's generally the responsibility of that organisation to insure the boat for the duration of the loan or the hire. This is quite a common thing in the industry. Gallagher receive regular requests for this kind of thing, and it's usually fairly straightforward and fairly easy to arrange for organisations. The message from us really would be that clubs are very strongly advised that whenever they do loan or hire or allow a third-party organisation to borrow boats and equipment belonging to them, that they do receive confirmation in writing. Sort of an email would normally suffice, but confirmation that those boats are indeed covered by that organisation's own insurance for the duration.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. That's useful information. So what about that in reverse? So if a club that's insured by Gallagher needs to borrow, loan or hire additional boats for a training course, discover sailing session, that kind of thing during the year, can that be arranged? Can that be bolted onto the policy?
Absolutely, and very common these days for clubs to need that. The way we handle things within the Gallagher RYA policy is that there's two options really available to you. You can either have a blanket extension of your cover that effectively provides you with the ability to loan or borrow boats from others within certain parameters that you predetermine and set with insurers in advance, and that typically that would be based on the number of times that you might do that during the year and the maximum values of boats that you might have on loan or you might sort of borrow at any one time. Insurers will then charge a flat rate, and you have the cover as part and parcel of your annual policy. That removes the need for you to have to pick up the phone and contact us to arrange that cover, and it's particularly useful for organisations that might sort of do that regularly during the year. By regular I mean sort of maybe more than sort of half a dozen times a year, but very much worthwhile having the blanket annual extension. For those organisations who do it less frequently, maybe once or twice a year, you are probably best advised to do that on an ad hoc basis. So contact, obviously, if you're a Gallagher club, Gallagher insured club, contact us. We can arrange that for you for the duration of the time that you need to loan or borrow that boat, and relatively small additional premium will be charged. But if it's only once or twice a year, that is the most economical way of doing it.
Sure. Okay, great. Similar question, I suppose, but what about if a club is being loaned boats by an external organisation? Do they need to insure them, and if so, can this be arranged?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, clubs will always need to verify the position with the organisation that are loaning you the boat. For example, the RYA provides cover for boats on loan to recognised training centres, but other organisations might not have the same approach. They might need you to insure those boats on your own policy. As I mentioned previously in one of the earlier questions. In this situation, the boat can be added temporarily or permanently to the Gallagher policy. We would very much treat it as either a temporary or a permanent loan. And what we would look to do is endorse the policy at that stage to note the interest of the owner. It's really important from an insurance principle point of view to make sure that the insurable interest is noted. So if the boat is owned by another organisation, they need to be named on the policy, and it avoids any ambiguity in the event of a claim. So that's basically how we would handle things. I think to summarise, in terms of the questions that we've covered off on this message, it's really vital that clubs recognise and understand the limitations of their own insurance arrangements. If they're in any doubt whatsoever about the extent of the cover that they receive under their policy, obviously we can speak freely about the cover and the terms that the Gallagher policy offers. We can't necessarily say that that is replicated by everybody. So we do recommend that you do speak to your providers. We at Gallagher are obviously more than happy to hear from you, either myself or your dedicated RYA account handler within our RYA team. We'll be more than happy to discuss individual situations with you, and we welcome contact from you at any stage.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ben. So, yeah, as Ben said, do get in touch with the Gallagher team if you've got any questions, or of course with the RYA team at legal@rya.org.uk. Thanks again, Ben. Really appreciate your time joining us online to talk to us about this. It's been fantastic, really useful.
No problem.
If you've enjoyed this, please share and like this video, and keep in touch. Stay safe, everyone.